Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Footy Fan Network. Here, having a chat on the couch. My name is Rob, and I'm joined by Drewzy from Freo Faithful. Hello, mate.
G'day. How you going?
Good. Chris from Tigercast. Hello.
Hey, mate. You going well?
Good. And Nick from Pies Nation. Hello, mate.
G'day, Rob. Good to see you.
Likewise, mate. Likewise, mate. Boys, silly season has finished. Trade radio is over. I want to know from you, Drewzy, what was your favourite moment of men walking up and down a hallway yesterday?
The end of it, I think. I used to think why the trade period isn't as long as the Premier League. I'm a big Premier League fan, but after this last 10 days of trade radio, I'm so glad that, it's over because there's so much speculation now. There's more people having a voice than ever before, and there's so much chat. So it's good that it's over, and we can look forward to 2026.
Yeah. Chris, does the trade window go for too long? Too short, or what do you reckon?
It's too long. Like, a lot of this stuff's done during the year anyway, the early talks. They could make it 2 or 3 days and we'd get the same net result. It's just all about theatre now, isn't it? Like having that mad rush to the fax machine, to the room, and trying to get a headline or a good bit of vision. I did like how they had the camera set up though. I thought that was a really good addition for watching trade radio, but it goes for far too long.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? You're in amongst it, the trade radio land. So what do you think?
I think it does go for too long, but I think the reality is it's not going to change. This is the first time the trade radio scene actually started immediately post-grand final. It's the earliest that it's actually started, and it was justified with the ratings that it has gotten since. I know that it is a big market mover. There are a lot of sponsorships and partnerships involved, and the AFL love it. They love the streaming. They love getting the insights into the managers' rooms on that final deadline day. And no matter how much we talk rubbish about it, people will still watch, and that's what the AFL are all about. I heard on the previous discussion talking about the fact that the AFL are leaning towards this business type model. This is a prime example for me. The way that trade radio has transformed into a short little couple of days where they just announce all the latest trades that have gone through, to speculation going through the roof. I reckon a good 50-60% of AFL players were actually talked about in a trade scenario in some way, shape or form. I think it's a bit over the top. I agree. I think there is an opportunity for it to be shorter. The reality is, if anything, it's going to be longer than it is shorter.
Well, to your first point, we're all listening to it for the entire time.
Exactly right, yes. So I think on that basis alone, the AFL are going to argue, well, the audience is there. They need some content. We want to fill that space as soon as the grand final is done. Let's go straight into trade radio, and that's how they've done it.
I feel like back in the day, a few years ago, when there was a trade that was spoken about, you knew it was going to happen. But now it's like stories being made like Nick Dacos didn't win the BNF, and now clubs are asking if his head will be turned. And it's just like, Nick Dacos is never going to leave Collingwood. And they're just like boomer baiting. Like my mum's messaging me like, oh, Nick Dacos is going to leave Collingwood. Like, no, you've just been baited. So,
but they embrace it. The talent embrace it. And I see that firsthand all the time. They're introducing segments where they want people to text in and say, oh, what rumour did you hear about this sort of player?
Yeah.
They are driving that discussion. It's what they want. It's what the AFL want. And I just don't think it's going to change.
We need the mega deals. You can't not have a mega deal.
Coons was shattered at him his trade radio this year, had to stick onto Sports Day, so he had to hold the mega trades to a side. But we saw a couple.
Yeah. We did. Funnily enough, Damo actually started cutting people off when they were doing hypotheticals. He had enough. He didn't want to hear about
That's not that surprising, is it?
the different trade scenarios. But I think that's the fun of it. You can try and hypothesise.
As a suggestion for you guys, what about instead of the home and away season, we just have wall-to-wall trade radio all season long and then just get to finals? What's your thoughts on that, Drewzy?
Yeah, no, good for the YouTube views, I think. But I prefer to see a bit of grass, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a bit better than the hallways. But I will say, guys, I'm loving my new Continental tyres, so I'm loving those.
Are you joining the police force? Yes,
and I've joined the police force, and I'm getting blue steel. I'm doing all of that stuff. It's a circus. Let's be frank. It is an absolute circus. The trade period. Do you think that the evolution that this has happened in the last few years is a good thing? Because the AFL is copying what's happened overseas. We obviously see what happens in the NFL, the NBA, even in European football as well. Do you think that this is good for the game that it's gone this way, or was it better how it used to be, or is there another evolution from here? Chris, what do you think?
I think it's better, even though we just all said we'd want it to be shorter. I think it's more engaging for fans. It helps all of us out as creators as well with different bits of content along the journey as well. And I just think we ultimately end up being better informed. Sometimes it's not always the correct information we're informed with, but I think it's just an easier way to keep across what our clubs are doing. And yeah, I don't mind it. I think it's grown for the better.
I'm going to ask you guys a question that we haven't prepared, but I think this is a good one. 1 to 3, who do you trust the most out of Tom Morris, Mitch Cleary, and Damien Barrett? So one most trustful, 3 least trustful. Drewzy, on the spot.
Cleary,
Yep.
Morris, and who was the other
Damien
one?
Barrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one being most trusted.
One being most trusted, 3 being least trusted.
Tom Morris, Cleary, and Barrett, because he admitted on Trade Radio like 3 years ago that no one tells him anything.
Okay, interesting. Nick?
I think it's a toss-up between Cleary and Morris for 1 and 2, and then Daylight. And then Damien Barrett's probably at 3
Wow.
with that area.
Sorry, Purple? Yeah. Well, he's
Calculating Cal.
Yeah, someone's asking off mic, what about Cal Toomey? He's clearly
number one.
Clearly, we know that
Yep.
the point is that we're discussing the hype people.
So on the back of that, just quickly, Rob.
Yeah.
So do you think we're going to get to a point where we have a mid-season trade period?
I think there should be.
Yeah, I think we should. I think there should be. And I follow European soccer more so than I do the American sports, and I'm actually interested in the possibility of a loan type scenario where a club who is clearly not going to be winning the premiership can go get a player for a season or 2 and go, hey, we're going to loan you for 2 seasons. You can develop this guy, and then we'll discuss at the end of that period if we're going to do a deal or not. Because that way, a player plays, this team might be a little bit better on field, and it goes from there. I understand it's hard when you've just got 18 teams and you cannot bring in other countries and stuff like that. But I'm not opposed to it. I know for players it might be hard to one day mid through the season tell your whole family, hey guys, we're moving into state. But that's the caper. Like I think it would be a good thing. And then we're closer to 365 days of trade radio, which is what we all want. That's what we're all here for. What do you think, Drewzy?
I'm a fan of mid-season trades. If there was like a period around that mid-season draft where there could be a little bit of player movement, but no, I think the league's too small for a loan system. I like the idea of it, but yeah, it just doesn't seem realistic. But I don't see any reason why there shouldn't be mid-season trades because there's so many players that they're promising the preseason that they'll play. Like from a Freo fan perspective, Will Brodie was a player that we were sort of waiting to play all year and just never got in. He could have done with a mid-season trade. A guy like Henry Hustwaite, who didn't get the move that he wanted, he could be another player. So, yeah, free the boys that are playing in the 2s that are too good for the 2s but would do good things for other clubs.
And then otherwise you don't get a pick 103 instead. Yeah. So,
does that pick even exist? Like, what is that?
Do you think, though, that a mid-season trade would be similar to what we see now with the pattern that it is players wanting to go to successful clubs, or do you think it's more going to be players like you Will Brodies who are like, hey, I'm clearly leaving this club at the end of the season. Let's just get it done now, and I can actually start playing. What do you think is more likely to happen?
Well, the curiosity with it is that every player would be under contract in a mid-season trade because they're all 1 year, 2 year, 3 year deals. So it'd be fascinating as to what that does look like and how much power a player has in that position. I mean, we're clearly seeing a shift where players are starting to demand trades or moves to clubs no matter how long their contract status is. And I actually do, and it's been spoken about already before, but I do really applaud Essendon for bucking the trend and standing firm because I feel like if it got to a point where we were seeing Zach Merritt get his way and be able to leave despite the status he had at Essendon, then I think the AFL would have a genuine concern on their hands about players just having the freedom or thinking they've got the freedom to just go anywhere they want as they please despite the contract that they've got in front of them. So I think it'd be a curious case and they'd have to slowly introduce it if they got it to that point. But that seems to be the trend they're going in regardless.
In a mid-season trade, can you only trade mid-season draft picks?
Well, that sort of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Hypotheticals on hypotheticals. You do see in the NBA though, like the players don't have the power to choose where they go, and there's still the organisations that still suck.
Yeah,
the Washington Wizards have been a basket case for as long as I can remember. They've been able to trade in whatever players they want. So
I think the difference with the American codes more so having the power is that to play in those leagues, you are on life-changing money. Most of the players in the AFL, they're earning very good wages, but it's not that far off what the average person can earn in this country. So to be able to just picked up and moved without your decision is a lot harder than, hey, guy who's on $5 million a year, you're going to the other side of the country. It's like, well, but who cares?
At the same time, don't sign a long contract and then want to leave. Like the players, this is where White's so difficult to do a mid-season one because of that reason. The players have just got way too much power, and like I respect Essendon as well for not buckling, but if you're contracted and you've got a front-loaded contract and been able to take a big hit of your money, then you want to leave in 2 years' time, why should you then be able to dictate to the club where you want to go? Like you should be able to pick a states if you're going interstate, but outside of that, it really should be the clubs that get the final say if you've got years to run.
So,
Yeah.
the CEO of the AFL Players Association spoke on SEN yesterday, I think, when we're recording. I'm not exactly sure his name, I can't remember. But the point he was making, there was a lot of questions asked him about the state of long-term contracts and should they be limited going forward. And he was very clear in his stance that, no, we don't want to take that flexibility away. Players should be able to sign contracts for as long as they want, which I found fascinating and an obvious viewpoint coming from the Players Association because they want as much freedoms as they want. But do we get to a stage where a couple of ideas have been floated where, okay, you can sign a 6-year deal, but for the first 4 years of it, you have no choice. You have to sign as part of the agreement that you must stay at the club that you've signed with under no circumstances can you ask for a trade. Are we getting to that stage where we start seeing clauses in contracts about when players can move, or if they do move, what type of money is associated with that? And if they ask for a trade, does their contract get cut short going forward? I think that seems a slightly more realistic point going forward than some of these other ideas.
I don't think we're mature enough yet. Like the NRL, I think, are in a really mature spot with the way they handle trades. Players announcing it mid-season and they just crack on with it and play. Neil Bullen was probably a good example with him announcing to Melbourne that he wanted to go to Adelaide, and then they played and everyone was playing happy families and it was all good. But I think we're still very immature as a code.
As for those clauses, as long as Cozzy Pickett doesn't have to sign one and he plays for Freo in a couple of years, do whatever you want after that.
I like it.
We're obviously talking about it now and like players getting traded without their free will. And I'm not sure if the Hawthorn supporters in the room at the moment, but if I recall correctly, Chad Wingard, when he came to Hawthorn, Ryan Burton was pushed out the door not wanting to leave. So this isn't a new thing. No. This has been around for some period of time, but I guess it's just that because we've had such a swing where every single club has just been bent over by the player that it's happened, and then suddenly we're like, oh my God, Essendon's changed it. We haven't really changed it. This has been happening for a little bit by saying no. And at the end of the day, if you sign the piece of paper, you've signed the piece of paper. Don't take the money. Don't take the big deal if you're not committed to it. And then that's the decision that you make. So even though you might say the club needs to put a clause in, the clause is the contract. You've signed the contract. You're here. Otherwise they can go, oh, we'll just stop paying you. Sorry, Zach Merritt or whoever it may be. Guess what? You're not getting paid tomorrow. So
were you happy to keep Merritt?
Yes and no. Yes, because we'll be less crap next season. Yes, because I don't want Hawthorn to get better. No, because I think it's going to be bad for the culture. But it could be fixed. Things can change. I don't think anyone, I'm on the record from my own show and some stuff on social media that I don't think anyone won out of the Merrick situation. Hawthorn lost, Essendon lost, Zach lost, and his manager lost a client. So that's what happened.
Stays captain?
No chance. Absolutely no chance.
Did you hear what James Hird said about it?
I didn't. What did he say?
He thinks he should stay as captain.
Okay. Love James, disagree. Love James, disagree. Yeah, I abstained for the majority of trade radio, choosing to listen to Row Your Boat and Baby Shark on repeat with my son. And I'll tell you what, old McDonald is getting traded. That's all I know. He's on the move. Be ready, but yeah.
Future first?
Future first, yeah. As much as I love James, I couldn't stomach Tom Morris at the same time. So I was like, probably not going to listen to this. But look, James is obviously a great of Essendon, but if Zach Merritt is Essendon's captain next year, we are cowards as a club. Yeah. It is cowardly for him to be the captain next season. So.
I felt like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. I've backflipped on this both sides so many times. I feel like Hawthorn will be fine with where they're placed. But yeah, will Merritt be a part of your next finals win, whenever that will be?
No.
So did you miss an opportunity to...
Maybe. We don't know. We don't know if he will. That's the thing. You don't know now. Like in two years' time, we could turn around and suddenly be in this great position, or we could be worse than we are now. And we're going to sit there going, God, we could have had this kid or this kid. As every club who's in the bottom four at some point in the career goes, oh man, can't believe we drafted X over X. You know, can't believe we drafted Richard Tambling over Buddy.
You didn't have to. You looked at me. I thought he's going there. He's going there.
I was trying to think of it.
No regrets taking Anthony Morabito.
Yeah, Anthony Morabito. Yeah. I mean, you traded. Who did you trade for Matthew Lloyd? Something
for Hodge.
No,
Matthew Lloyd.
At the very start of Fremantle, you gave away the draft pick.
Andrew McLeod.
That basically was Matthew Lloyd.
So many names getting thrown around right now.
Everyone.
Yeah, no, we butchered a fair few trades in the early 2000s, which led us to be pretty mediocre for a long time.
Yeah, but look, to get to my point, we won't know. That's the thing. It's very easy to go, this is definitive. We simply don't know. All I know is that Hawthorn aren't better now because Zach Merritt's not playing them. And I think that's, as an Essendon fan, a good thing. I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and a lot of the consensus everyone said is that if it wasn't Hawthorn, Carlton or Collingwood, the deal is done and he's playing for another club. That was the Crows, is it the Crows? If that was Freo, is it Freo? Maybe Richmond potentially, but those are probably the three clubs where Essendon just wouldn't let it happen, particularly Hawthorn considering the current state that they're in. But you signed the deal, man. You signed the deal.
See you at pre-season.
Yeah, we'll see you at pre-season. We'll see you for day one of trade radio that starts in a month. So we will see you there. While we're talking about trades, I want to talk to you guys about the draft and how that works. We see a lot of free agency now, and we see the way the compensation works. Do you think the way that compensation picks works? Because what happens is someone goes in free agents and there's weeks of speculation, and then the AFL just go, this is the pick you're getting. And it doesn't seem like there's a science to it. They sort of explain it, but it's not exactly the same every time. Do you think it's working, Drewzy?
Oh, I'm probably the wrong person to ask, to be honest. I don't get how clubs can trade a player that is out of contract and then like they might match the bid, and I don't. Yeah, the whole trade system confuses the hell out of me, to be honest. I only found out the other day that the New South Wales teams and Queensland teams just have free reign on academies, so they can just pick up whoever they want. That's not fair. I know they're not footballing saints, but been saying it for years, man. Like, why can't Freo just go chuck, like, I don't know, some highly rated prospect in their academy? It makes sense, but it's just there's so much grey area.
Do you know something really depressing? Go
Probably
look.
not.
Go look up the zone maps in Victoria of how they're done by NGA, and go look at the sliver of space that North Melbourne, St Kilda and the D's get. There is nothing. Like, basically everything like east of Glen Waverley is Hawthorns, and like there's different parts of the state. But you look around and go, some clubs have like this area, and that area these days is like urban residential, and we're not a lot of people playing footy. Like you move out to the suburbs, and then suddenly you're now in these new caption areas. So it's definitely not fair. Nick, you are our trade radio man, being there on the ground. Do you think the compensation pick works?
Absolutely not. No, I don't think so. And I'm seeing just too much variables about what clubs are getting and what they should be getting. Left field, should they even get compensation for free agents leaving? I mean, is it really necessary?
If you're a free agent,
is it really necessary? Because it's almost just a trade after that.
Yeah. Not much of a free agent if you're walking away with a first round pick going the other way.
Well, I think that means we're just going to see more of the divide. And like this season's an easy example because it was basically end of May and there was a clear top 9 and bottom 9 because that's how the season worked out. But are we just going to see more of that? Because I guess it means for those bottom struggling clubs, it means for a West Coast or a North Melbourne or an Essendon, it's like, hey, you're going to be getting the next pick after yours. It's like, let's be frank, Ben Mackay is not worth a second, like pick 2 or pick 3 or whatever it was. But North Melbourne were in that position, so it's kind of fair in a way. But then we get in this weird thing. It's like, oh, if you pay X amount, then they'll get this pick, and then we'll let them go, and everyone will all shake hands, and it's kind of dodgy, but it's also okay, and we're cool with it.
So unless there is a more consistent system, then you're almost better off not having the conversation. That's what I'm saying.
It's mind-blowing in a professional sport that no one knows, bar people behind closed doors, what the actual mechanics are that make it up.
Yeah. What do you think's easier to explain to a 3-year-old, the MRO or the free agency system?
Oh God.
The birds and the bees.
Go back to Baby Shark.
Say the offside rule probably halfway there.
Yeah, the offside rule probably. All right.
Well, what are you doing with your child? Have you gone through that process yet?
Oh yeah, I'm like, this is Damien Barrett. Don't trust what he says. He's a snake. Blah blah blah. And like, that's the first thing we learn. I'll ask you guys a really simple question because I think we've asked everything on this run sheet. Is anyone going to stop Brisbane next season?
No.
No?
I reckon they go, for the three-peat.
No.
Yeah.
Incredibly, the Suns are probably the best chance.
The Suns.
Q Clash Grand Final.
I reckon we're right in the cusp of a Q clash, at least a prelim or a grand final. They have a
Jamara gets his
phenomenal.
shit together. It's going to be scary.
They have a phenomenal list at the moment, the Suns. When you think about the inclusions they've got, and I know Bailey Humphrey wanted to get out of there, of course, but it just seems like they're starting to build something really scary. And I saw it firsthand watching them this year with the team they had. They've got the Brownlow medalists. That midfield is probably the best going around, and I think the fact that Brisbane have improved even more means we might all be playing for second or third. I mean, not you guys, but I think Collingwood will be playing for second or third next year.
We beat you at the team. We'll be playing for second or third last, thank you.
I also saw the Gold Coast Suns, how scary they are firsthand. I flew to Perth for that final.
Well, we beat them.
Oh, you did? I was
We knocked them off. Yeah.
So
Not that hard.
Richmond, Brisbane grand final.
Yeah.
Richmond, yeah.
But no, they are a scary commodity, the Suns. And with the academy, like I was just saying, like they have just absolutely nailed that.
Well, they're going to get 2 top 10 picks again for free after getting, Petrarca and Jamara.
Which is what the AFL wants, right? It's the Nepo baby is.
Well, so what about the father-son rule? Are we for keeping that? I'm probably the wrong person to ask as well.
Yes, I think it's a part of. I think it's part of the fabric of the game. What I think needs to change is how much people are spending on it, because I think it's too easy to go, here's picks 103 to 106, we'll have Nick Dacos. That doesn't really make sense. I think it needs to be a first thing of going, okay, if you take a father-son in the first round, you don't get any more father-son, those are first-round picks. That's it.
Yeah.
It's got to be some sort of thing like that. Maybe even also take into account where you finished on the ladder. Because let's be frank, if the next Nick Dacos was coming to West Coast this year, I don't think we'd be complaining. We'd all go, oh, good, look at them. They're going to get a really good young pick along with their other one. But if it was Brisbane again, which is basically already happening, we're all kind of going, oh, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
All I know is if they take Kobe Buick off Essendon, I will be devastated. So let's just put that on record. Any father-sons coming to Freo? Have you guys been around long enough for that to happen yet?
No, I think Pav's got a son that's like early teens. So
He'll be playing for Sydney though. He'll be playing for Sydney now, won't he?
Yeah, true. Sean McManus' son's in our academy, actually.
Sean McManus. Okay.
Yeah.
Sean
Bit of a
McManus.
cult figure. Dan behind the deck says he's good.
What about the Tigers? Any father-sons on the horizon?
Yeah, we've got a couple next year. We've got Archie Daffy and Jack Lees.
Daffy?
Yeah. So
He was great.
he's had a pretty good year, young Archie, actually. So playing for Geelong down in the Falcons. Should be a small forward. Doesn't really like to handball a hell of a lot. Very much a kick-centric player.
Great.
But knows where the goals are. So
Great.
looking forward to him.
Kicks are way more fun than handballs. Eh?
Yeah, true.
Just bomb it.
Fundamental.
Any more Dacoses on the horizon?
Not that I know of, unless Pete's getting to work somewhere. But I think
Well, he left the BNF early to go and...
who knows? We obviously had McGon that we decided not to take as a father-son this year, so I'll be very curious to see how that
Must
lands.
be tough being a father-son who's on the fringe and doesn't get taken. Like Joe Mercedes' son was kind of like, maybe he'll get picked up, and then he just didn't get picked up. And you're like, that must be tough.
Which is the argument for father-sons, because everyone just looks to the Nick Dacos and the Sam Darcys and think, this system's just rigged for these players. But there are so many father-son examples that it didn't quite work out.
Well, I will happily say on record that I don't think Jack Silvani will still be playing if his name was Silvani. I think if his name was something else,
pretty
I think
handy.
No, I think he's handy now because they gave him the time. I think if he had another name, they wouldn't have given him the time. He would have got moved on. That's just my opinion. Like I think that comes when you're like the name of the club.
Yeah.
Like we gave James Heard's son a crack and didn't work out. But if his name wasn't
resulted
Heard,
in a drug
he wouldn't have had a look in. And that's the thing you get if your father's or grandfather's name is on the fucking club wall. They're going to go, okay. They're going to give you a sniff,
But if you're no good, you get found out pretty quickly, I would assume.
Well, I got Louis Callaway as well this year,
Okay.
which will be another good one.
There's something in the water up in Queensland, though. The amount of father-sons they're pulling out and academies, they're doing something right up there.
Yeah, it's almost like 20 years ago. Brisbane did something a lot. They won three flags and they celebrated. They celebrated really, really hard.
Kicked lots of goals.
Yeah, they did. They did definitely kick lots of goals. I'll ask you guys a couple more questions before we wrap up. Drewzy, are you happy, sad, or okay with how Freo went in this trade window?
Yeah, probably happy. Judd McVie improves us straight away.
Yep.
Adrian from the debrief behind the camera is on his knees crying right now. He instantly improves our ball movement from the back half. I don't
You
think
surprised that Sam Darcy didn't go? Because I thought he might have been on the move.
Sean Darcy.
Sorry, Sean Darcy.
Yeah, we
You
had
surprised that Sam Darcy didn't leave Western Bulldogs? Sorry, you surprised that Sean Darcy didn't?
We had some inside scoop in a group chat with a member of Backchat who I won't name that said Sean Darcy was a lock to go to Essendon. Put it on True Footy and performed well. The trade didn't happen.
Wow.
Got to explain yourself. His name starts with a D and ends with an N.
Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, I thought. Look, to be honest, I actually thought. I mean, I thought that was happening as well. To be honest, like it seemed like a really logical fit. Although there's a guy named Lachlan Blackiston who's basically the next greatest ruckman of
You
all
got his
time.
badge yet?
Yeah, he's going to be a ruck round one. Look out, Lloyd Meek. Look out, Blackiston is coming. So
Yeah, I was pretty happy with just taking in Jardel. I think our list is ready to go.
Do you want to leave? Oh, the Brody.
Brody and Reedy.
Brody and Reedy.
Yeah,
Okay.
but overall happy.
Did the Tigers do anything?
Blair did turn up at some point later
Yeah.
in the week, so we traded out Tyler Young to West Coast to pick 38. Which, it would be a good get for West Coast.
Yep.
Happy with pick 38, though. And then we made a trade in the last hour, giving up pick 99 for Geelong VFL player that got delisted.
Wrench coat? Wrench?
Yeah.
Wrench.
Wrench? The wrench.
Rechko.
No, they're wrench.
Sounds like an Eastern European boxer.
And I reckon he'll
Yeah.
play round one. Even though he was pick 90 or trade 99 pick, I think he will play round one on the wing.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love those kind of stories. That's awesome.
It says a lot about how our wing spots are going. But
That's okay.
No, he feels the need. And Blair's very much about trade for need and draft everything else. So we'll just walk to the draft with 3 and 4, thanks to North.
What's Richmond's number one priority in the draft? Like, is there a position you go, that's what we need right now, or is it just simply just get what you can?
I think it's just more people that can add to the midfield mix. We've got pretty good key forward stocks. There was some speculation on Xavier Taylor as another intercept defender,
Yep.
but I do think we'll go for 2 mids. Just like if you look at Gold Coast and Brisbane and how deep their midfield rotations are, that's the level you've got to get to be competitive. And I think we need to add another 2 to be able to get to that point in 3 or 4 years.
Okay. And are Collingwood going to slide? Because it doesn't look like you've gotten better on paper.
I think everyone wants us to slide. That's probably the way things are
Hands
going.
up, everyone who wants Collingwood to
Yep.
slide.
Yep.
Yep, quickly. Yep, everyone except for the other 2
I
Collingwood.
don't hate Collingwood. Do you think you'll get better though?
Yeah, look, it's a cop-out answer, but I don't think we can answer that question for another 12 months. I think there's a lot riding on 2026. I disagree.
Oh, come on, Craig
Hold
McRae.
on,
Give us a
hold
real
on.
answer, Craig
Well,
McRae.
where does the improvement come from?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of pressure on that younger group of players. So we're looking at the Ed Allens, we're looking at the Will Parkers, Harry Dimatiers. So they are the type of they are the type of players that are going to have to get some more game time. Hence why I disagree about Scott Pendlebury, Steele Sidebottom and Jeremy Howe all getting contracts, because the likelihood now is that they're all going to be retiring at the same time, which I think is worst case scenario.
Yeah.
I think that needed to be stagnated a little bit more in terms of us moving to the next step. At the same time, anyone that's got Nick Dacos in that team, I'm pretty
Yeah.
confident that will
Yeah.
still be okay.
Will Pendles break the record this year if he plays every
It looks
game?
like he will
If he plays every
at
game?
this point, so
Wow.
we'll see how we go.
How many games as a sub has he had?
Not that many,
Okay.
maybe 3 or 4 at most. I'm not here for the Pendle disrespect at the back.
Yeah. No, just
So I don't know. There's a romanticism about it, of course, because it'd be great to
Yeah.
see him get to the record. But at the same time, we need to see what the future holds, and it doesn't look like we're going to go to the draft this year.
Do you think your key forward stocks are like I know you played in the prelim this season, but like I don't see them improving. Like obviously Mychek has gone. Look, he's probably past his best, but I don't think McStay and Membry are premiership winning forwards, if you know what I mean.
No.
So where do you see that being there to get those few extra goals?
Yeah, well, it's
Is Mason Cox playing for Collingwood next season?
to be confirmed.
TBC.
TBC.
He's available.
I think
could
he-
be rucking for Essendon
It
next
looks-
year. Who knows?
I think he actually might re-sign on the back of the fact that we didn't do too
Interesting.
much. I like the Jack Buller trade. I think that he's going to be great for us going forward. 24 years old, showed some promise at the end of this season with Sydney. The thing is, we have traditionally been a club, probably since Travis Cloak left, that haven't relied on key forwards to come in and kick bags of goals. It's always been the smaller types that have come through. I mean, you look at Jamie Elliott, he's had a 60-goal season, so he seems to be the one relied upon. It is a major concern of where we're getting our goals from. We only had 3 players kick more than 30 goals this season, and one of them's now gone to Melbourne, so it is going to be a bit of a tough situation. I think there's other areas of more concern, incredibly.
Is Bobby Hill still there?
Still there, yep.
Yeah.
So he'll still be playing.
That kind of just didn't get much media attention, did it? Because it seemed like it was writing on the wall that he was
Yeah,
going.
I wanted him.
And then it's kind of just nothing happened.
Give me Bobby Hill.
Yeah, no, he seems committed to the cause. Obviously, he's got a lot going on, so hopefully we can get him on a consistent basis next year. But him along with the Jamie Elliott's, again, the Bo McCreary's, Harvey Harrison's coming back from an ACL next year, so I'm really keen on seeing how he performs. But it is certainly one to keep an eye out for, particularly seeing as that we struggled with that in the back end of this year.
What about the voting for the BNF? Will that change next year at the Pies so Nick Dacos can get that BNF?
As long as Dacos, he's got to find a way to get second somehow. Again, I'm sure no matter what they do, they'll get him there. No, I think that was a disappointing comment, if I'm honest, from Fly. Was not a big fan of it. And I want to give the credit to DC. I thought he had an outstanding year and he deserved the best and fairest. But yeah, interesting times. Let's just say that.
Yep. Gents, thank you for joining us on the panel, or the couch, sorry, for a bit of a chat. And here's to wall-to-wall trade radio next season, starting Jan 1.
Thanks to Continental
Good on.
Tires.
Thanks to Continental Tires. See you then. Go Freo.